Okay, get this. What if your web browser was like your best friend? Like it
Yeah.
could book flights, compare prices, do all the boring stuff online for you.
Hmm. Sounds pretty good to me.
Well, that's what Google's cooking up with this thing called Project Jarvis.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that.
We're talking like a major shift in how we use the internet, maybe even bigger than like when Chrome first came out. Remember that?
Yeah, yeah, that was a big one.
So let's just dive right in. Jarvis, Project Jarvis. What is it? What makes it so different?
So Jarvis is like, those digital assistants?
Like Siri or Alexa.
Right, exactly. But instead of just answering questions, it can actually like interact with web pages.
Like human.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it can click buttons, fill up those annoying forms, even decide what to do based on what you tell it. It's like a digital version of you, but just for getting stuff done online.
Okay, now that's pretty cool. But like, give me an example, something real.
Okay, imagine you really want to go to Italy, right? But you don't have a ton of cash. So you tell Jarvis, hey, find me a trip to Italy less than 500 bucks.
I love that.
And Jarvis just goes to work, checks all the travel sites, finds the deals, books your flights, hotels, the whole 9 yards. You don't have to do a thing.
No way, that's nuts. But how does it do that? Is it magic or something?
Well, the secret sauce is this AI thing Google's working on, Gemini 2.0.
Oh, I've heard of Gemini.
Yeah, it's like the brains behind Jarvis. Still being developed, but it's going to be like massively powerful.
So it's like the AI that's doing all the cool stuff now, like the chatbots and the AI art.
Exactly. But instead of just creating stuff, it's actually interacting with like the digital world, understanding what it sees on your screen.
So it's not just mimicking what humans do, it's actually like getting it, making decisions and stuff.
Yeah, that's the crazy part. It's like Jarvis is constantly watching you, seeing how you use the web, and then it can just take over when you want it to.
And it does that by like taking screenshots. I think you mentioned that earlier.
Yep, that's the screenshot technique.
Sounds sneaky.
Think of it like this. Jarvis is constantly taking these little snapshots of your screen.
Like it's spying on me.
In a way, yeah. But it's all good. It's just trying to learn. So it takes all these screenshots and then uses some really advanced AI vision stuff to figure out what it's looking at. Buttons, forms, text, even images. And then it uses all that info to do what you told it to do.
Okay, that is seriously impressive.
Yeah.
But I gotta ask, is Google the only one doing this AI agent thing? Are there others?
Oh, for sure. Google's just the one making all the noise right now. But other companies are working on similar stuff. Anthropic, OpenAI, they're all in on this.
So it's like an AI agent arms race.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to build the best one.
Pretty much. And they're all taking slightly different approaches. Like Anthropic, they have this thing called claudeai, and it can actually like control your computer, not just the web browser.
Whoa, seriously.
Yeah, it's constantly analyzing and updating these screenshots. OpenAI is rumored to be working on something similar called Project Swarm, but no one really knows the details yet.
Google, Anthropic, OpenAI. It's like the Avengers of AI or something.
Yeah.
But I gotta ask, what does this mean for us regular folks? Like, are we all just gonna be bossing around our AI agents to do everything online?
I mean, that's the question, isn't it? It's definitely a possibility. Think about it. You'd never have to deal with a confusing website again or spend hours, comparing prices or whatever. Your AI agent does it all.
So like my own personal assistant, but for the internet.
Exactly. Like a digital concierge to handle all the boring stuff.
That does sound pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But gotta be honest, a little part of me is like a little freaked out, giving an AI that much control.
Oh, for sure.
What if it messes up, like books the wrong flight or buys something I didn't want?
Yeah, totally. Control and like who's responsible when things go wrong, those are the big questions we got to figure out.
Like we need some rules for this new AI world, right?
Yeah.
But hold on, let's shift gears for a sec.
Sure.
Could Jarvis, like, be used for more than just our personal stuff? Like, could businesses use it too?
Oh, absolutely. Actually, Jarvis could be a game changer for businesses. Way bigger impact than just, booking vacations or shopping.
Really?
Yeah, imagine it automating stuff in software development or customer service, even those super complicated enterprise systems.
So it's like a productivity revolution. Businesses could do way more, way faster.
Exactly. Think of all the time wasted on data entry and stuff. Jarvis could do all that, so people could work on more, creative stuff.
Okay, that does sound pretty revolutionary.
Ah.
But there's got to be some downsides, right? Like some risks we should be thinking about.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And probably the biggest one is privacy. Like, if Jarvis is out there browsing the web for night, it's going to see a lot of my personal info, right?
That's what I'm thinking.
Browsing history, what you search for, maybe even financial stuff. So the question is, how do we know that info is safe?
That's a big one.
Yeah.
If I'm going to trust Jarvis with, like, my digital life, I need to know it's secure.
Absolutely. And developers need to be really clear about how they're collecting and using our data. And the security has to be like top notch, strong encryption, those kinds of things.
Yeah, it can't just be about making a cool AI. It has to be secure too, right? People need to trust it.
You got it. Trust is the whole foundation. But there's another challenge too. Control. It sounds great to have Jarvis doing all this stuff for us, but we need to be able to stop it if it makes a mistake.
Like an off switch.
Exactly. And it can't be hard to find. It has to be really clear how to take back control.
Okay, that makes sense. Anything else?
Well, there's accuracy. Like AI can make mistakes, right? What they call hallucinations.
Hallucinations. Like, it's going to see things that aren't there.
Not exactly. It's more like it might misinterpret something, like book the wrong flight or buy something you didn't want.
Okay, so not just convenience. It has to be reliable too.
Yeah.
Like, we need to know it's going to get it right. But speaking of, when are we actually going to see this thing? When is Jarvis going to be available?
Well, the rumors are saying December 2024.
Oh, wow, that's soon.
Yeah, maybe even alongside Gemini 2.0, the AI behind it. But it'll probably just be for a small group of testers at first.
So the rest of us got to wait a bit longer.
Yeah, probably sometime in 2025 for wider release. But the race is definitely on.
Okay, December 2024. Mark your calendars. That's when we might get our first glimpse of Jarvis. But for now, we can only imagine what it'll be like and what it all means. What's the biggest thing that stands out to you so far?
For me, it's that this is a totally new way of interacting with technology. It's not just us using computers, it's AI being a part of our digital lives. And that raises some pretty big questions.
Yeah, for sure. It's like a whole new frontier. But like any frontier, there's going to be challenges. Which brings us to our final thought for today.
Okay, think about this. Jarvis could be super convenient, no doubt. But it's also a huge shift in how we do things online. So the question is, are we ready to give that much control to AI, even if it makes things easier?
Like, just because we can do something doesn't mean we should, right?
Exactly. Jarvis could change everything, but there are things we need to be really careful about. This is big. It's a conversation we all need to be having.
Absolutely. So what you're saying is?
It's about, what are we giving up for that convenience? What are the trade-offs?
Yeah, convenience versus control, like you said before. But I want to go back to something you mentioned about Anthropic's Claude AI. How is that different from Jarvis? They both seem like they're going for that, ultimate AI agent thing.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so interesting, right? They both use that screenshot thing to see what's going on, but it seems like they have different strengths, Claude, it's more like it can handle a bunch of different stuff on your computer, but Jarvis, it's like laser focused on the web browser.
So it's like Claude's a jack of all trades, but Jarvis is the master of one.
Yeah, I like that. And because of that, they both have different privacy questions. Claude needs to see more stuff, more data to work.
Yeah, that makes sense. More power, more potential problems.
Yeah.
But speaking of problems, the thing that worries me is, what if these AI agents mess up? They're still just machines.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, totally. And that's why it's so important to keep testing them, refining them. AI is still pretty new, and we're all learning as we go. Developers need to be really, really careful.
It's like training a puppy. Got to be patient, teach it the right way to do things.
Yeah.
You wouldn't just let a puppy run wild, would you?
Exactly. But something I'm curious about is, what about really sensitive information, like passwords or bank stuff? Will Jarvis have access to that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, how can we be sure that stuff is safe?
That's where security is, the most important thing. If Jarvis is going to book flights and stuff, it needs some info, right?
Right.
But Google has to be really careful with it. The security has to be, Fort Knox level. Encryption, all that stuff.
Yeah, it's not just about making a cool AI. It has to be one that we can trust.
Trust is everything in this. But there's another big question, right? Jobs.
Oh, yeah, that's the big one everyone's talking about.
We talked about how Jarvis could make businesses more efficient, but what happens to the people doing those jobs now? Does AI, like Jarvis, put people out of work?
That's the fear, right? The robots are taking over.
Well, I think it's more complicated than that. I mean, yeah, AI can automate a lot of stuff, but it's not about replacing humans. It's about helping us work smarter.
So, not a job killer, but a job changer.
Exactly. Think about, the Industrial Revolution. Machines took over a lot of jobs, but it also created new ones.
Yeah, true.
We might see the same thing with AI. Some jobs change, but new ones pop up, like people to develop AI, train it, oversee it.
So it's not humans versus AI, it's humans and DAI.
Exactly,
Okay.
working together. That's the key.
Okay, I like that. Much more optimistic. But let's not forget, there's competition, right? Google isn't the only one doing this. We talked about Claude, and there's that mysterious Project Swarm from OpenAI. What do you think? Will there be like one winner, or is there room for everyone?
That's what's so exciting. It's all so new. Things are changing so fast. It's hard to say what'll happen, but I think, we might see a bunch of different AI agents, each good at different things.
So, like, instead of one ring to rule them all, we have a bunch of specialized ones.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Think about software now. We have different browsers, different apps, all for different stuff.
Makes sense.
So we might have like a Jarvis that's great at browsing, a Claude that's good at lots of different things, and maybe even some really specific ones just for certain jobs like healthcare or finance.
So it's not about which AI is the best, it's about which one is the best for what you need.
Yeah, exactly. And having all these different AI agents could be a good thing. It gives people more choice, and it pushes everyone to be better, to innovate.
Competition is good.
Yeah.
It makes everyone up their game. But let's step back for a minute. Big picture time. What do you think long term? What are the big changes this AI stuff will bring?
I think it's going to be huge. I mean, it could change everything. It's not just about convenience. It's about how we think about technology. Instead of us controlling it, it's more like we're working with it. And that could change how we work, how we learn, even how we have fun.
So it's like a whole new way of being human in the digital age.
Yeah, kind of. AI could become like our partner, doing all the boring stuff so we can focus on, what really matters.
It's like having an extra brain working all the time to help you out. But that makes me wonder, if AI is doing so much, do we get, like, lazy? Do we lose our skills?
That's an interesting question. It's like any tool, right? You can use it well, or you can get too dependent on it. But I don't think it means we'll all become dumb. I think it'll push us to be better at the things AI can't do, like creativity, critical thinking, the human stuff.
So it's not about AI replacing us. It's about AI challenging us to be better.
Yeah, I think AI will make us better in the long run.
I like that. The symbiotic relationship. We push each other to improve. But let's come back down to earth for a sec. We know Google's planning to show off Jarvis soon, maybe even this December. What are you most curious about? Like, what's going to make or break this whole thing?
A few things. First, it has to be reliable. Like, it has to work consistently and get things right. No one wants to use something that's going to mess up all the time.
Yeah, can't just be smart. Got to be trustworthy, too.
Exactly. And it needs to be easy to use, not just for, like, tech people, but for everyone.
User-friendly, simple, that kind of thing.
Yep. If it's too complicated, no one's going to use it. And it needs to be flexible, adaptable, can't just be good at one thing. It has to be able to learn and handle new stuff.
So not just smart, but also a quick learner.
Right. And can't forget about the price. If Jarvis is going to be, for everyone, it can't be super expensive. Google needs to figure out a price that makes sense.
Balance the innovation with the, real-world costs. Make it accessible.
That's the challenge. But if they get it right, it could really change things. Make AI available to everyone. But, there's one more big thing we haven't really talked about. Ethics.
Ooh, yeah, the ethics of AI, that's a whole other deep dive.
Right. We talked about privacy, but there are other things we need to think about. Like, what are the ethical implications of all this?
Yeah, this is big stuff. Like, we're not talking about a new phone or something. This is AI that could, like, really change things.
Yeah.
And with that comes, responsibility.
Huge responsibility. As these AI agents get, more and more a part of our lives, we got to think about what that means ethically. It's not just about can we do it, it's also should we do it? And how do we make sure it's used for good?
Yeah, the values behind it, the principles, that's all got to be part of the conversation too, right?
Exactly. And I think one of the most important things is like fairness. These AI systems, they learn from tons of data, right? But that data can have bias built into it. So what happens if Jarvis is learning from biased data? Could it end up, making unfair choices?
That's a little scary, honestly. We don't want AI making things worse, right?
No way. We have to be super careful about what data we use to train these AI agents. And we need ways to, like, check for bias, to make sure it's not happening. AI should be used to make things better, not to hurt anyone.
Okay, so fairness is key. What else? What other ethical stuff do we need to be thinking about?
Accountability is another big one. Like, if Jarvis screws up, right, books the wrong flight, buys something you didn't want, who's to blame? The user, the people who made it. Or, like, the AI itself.
That's a tough one. It's like a whole new world of legal stuff we haven't even figured out yet.
Totally. We need, like, new laws, new rules for this AI age. We got to figure out who's responsible when things go wrong.
It's a whole new frontier, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, it is. And that's part of what makes it so exciting, right? We're not just inventing stuff. We're figuring out how it fits into the world, how to use it responsibly.
Right, right. Okay, so we've got fairness, accountability, anything else?
Transparency is another one. Like, as AI gets more complex, it's harder to see how it's making decisions, why it's doing what it's doing. And that can make people nervous, right?
Yeah, if you don't know how something works, it's hard to trust it.
Exactly. We need to be able to understand how these AI systems work, why they make the choices they do.
So it's not just about making smart AI, it's about making AI that we can understand.
Yep, that's how we build trust.
Okay, so we've covered a lot today. The tech stuff, the big picture, the ethics, it's been pretty wild.
It has. And remember, we're just getting started. AI is changing so fast. Who knows what's next?
I know, it's kind of mind-blowing. But before we go, I want to leave everyone with one last thought. As we move into this AI age, we all need to be part of the conversation. We need to ask questions, make sure developers are being transparent, holding them accountable. We need to be involved in shaping this future.
Couldn't agree more. The future of AI, it's not set in stone. It's being built now, and we all have a say in it.
Well said. And on that note, we'll wrap it up. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Project Jarvis and the future of AI agents. Hope you learned something, maybe had your mind blown a little bit. And until next time, stay curious and keep exploring this amazing world of AI.